I think what creates erectile dysfunction, I think what creates erectile dysfunction in a man, and listen, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist. I'm glad we got those things out of the way. I think what creates erectile dysfunction in a man is when a man is completely burned out and just doesn't have the passion or the drive like he used to. I think, and I don't think this is true for all men, I think there are some physical issues that some guys have. But I know for a fact that there's another group of men that if you're doing the same thing at the same time every single day, like I came across this guy, Dr. Dispenza, who was talking about when you do the same thing at the same time every day, it basically programs your body to become your mind. And so your body is basically, you're always just in reaction to like your body being programmed. And so the thing is if you think about that, that's an easy way to get burned out in life. That's a real easy way. Like I know that for a fact because that's exactly what happened to me. Like with my knee injury, I mean every single day was like Groundhog's Day. Like every single, like I was so programmed. Now don't get me wrong, I didn't have any problems with erectile dysfunction, but I can only imagine that if a man or a woman is completely burned out in life, you're just not gonna be like the spark to have sex is just not gonna be like it's just not gonna be in you. Like you're not gonna be alive. You know, you want to feel alive. You want to do all sorts of things. You want to feel amazing. Like you're just not gonna be inspired, right? If you're burnt out like that. So I think with a lot of men, first of all, there's no doubt that internet pornography causes erectile dysfunction. If you're not sure about that, I have tons of videos on my site where I really go in depth on how pornography is going to completely cause erectile dysfunction. There's no doubt about that. What you're doing essentially is, the brain is the most erotic part of sexual activity. And if you're constantly exposing your brain to those novel images, of course that's gonna. Why would you get turned on with a regular girl if you can see 100 of the hottest women in the world having sex in a single night? You're gonna completely program your brain. You're gonna burn out your brain. It's so, I have spent a good amount of time thinking about it because that is something I have struggled with. I used to have a I used to be addicted to porn. Uh, back in I quit porn in 2008. I got it in my head one day. I started to think, is there any negative effects of this of this porn, or like because I always thought it was something that most guys did. I had no idea about the effects of pornography. I really didn't. I really didn't. And I remember I had a girlfriend at the time, and sometimes I look back and I say, man, how much closer could I have been with that girl? How much more, not just how much more sex could we have had, but like, man, what a that really was a waste, because we could have had such a stronger bond and a stronger connection if I wasn't diverting my energy into watching porn. I mean, I remember we would still have sex, right? But the thing is like, if you're sitting there and you're watching porn and you're jerking off 5 or 6 days in a row, and then your girlfriend comes over on the seventh day, I mean, you're not going to be that turned on to have sex, because you just used it. You just used up all of your sexual drive. So, I mean, sometimes I just look back and I just say, man, that's one of the reasons why on my site I promote, celibacy so much, is because if I, like, back then, if I would have gone 7 days and just been disciplined enough to not masturbate, we would have had the most amazing sex. Like, and we would have been, and if I would have gotten rid of, if I wouldn't have been on porn, and I just could have just had sex with her, it would have been an amazing connection. It would have been so much better, because there's always a trade-off, right? There's always a trade-off, and the truth is at some point, anyway, back to the erectile dysfunction. At some point, the porn may seem great in the beginning, but it's a trap, because down the road, it's gonna end up being worse off for you than. But see, that's the trick. Is in the beginning, it seems like the trade-off is worth it, right? It's like, well, I don't even need a girlfriend because I have this porn. It's like, you might say that after 30 days, but after a year, and you're just really depressed, and you're like, man, I don't have any girl who actually makes me feel amazing about myself, and instead I just have these images that, by that time, you're just going to be completely tired of it. It's not going to have the same dopamine effect on your mind. In the first 30 days, the dopamine spike is crazy. If you've ever noticed it, the high is extremely high. But guys, listen, it's not worth the trade-off, and you can become free of it. I promise you. Anyway, okay, I got to shorten this video up a little bit. It's 5:30 in the morning, and I'm kind of grumpy. Erectile dysfunction is not just caused by porn. It's also caused by men losing their purpose. If you don't hunt and you don't fish and you don't go outside and chop firewood, you need something to make you. As men, we were built to do those things, and our culture has stripped away a lot of those things. Now, our culture has also kind of beaten down men a little bit, but that's a whole separate issue. You can always, as a man, it's up to you to say, listen, I need to do these things that will ignite my life. And maybe it's a new career. Maybe you need a new job. Maybe you're just completely burnt out with your job. I mean, that could easily turn a guy into having trouble sexually. Like, if you're not mentally switched on by your job, oh yeah, absolutely. You could just be like, you need to feel alive to cure erectile dysfunction. You have to. I'm actually surprised I haven't shot this video before. I mean, I've been, I guess I've been all over the place with some of my ideas lately. But there's no doubt that if you want to change your life, if you want to reinvent your life, and you don't want erectile dysfunction, there's a lot of different things that you can do. You can switch up your routine. You can just try, you know, you can try all sorts of different sports. You gotta get yourself out of the rut. You have to get yourself feeling like you have free will. And if you do that, that will change your magnetic energy, and you will attract. Maybe one of your problems is you're just not compatible with the person that you're with. That could be true. Maybe you need to do some emotional work and figure out, is there something in your life that's holding you back? Is there a trauma in your past that has caused you to just have a bunch of hangups that aren't true? You know, maybe you're scared. Maybe you're scared to date women. Maybe you've just taken yourself out of the game. It's time to get back into the game.